Hello and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name is Stephen Compian. Once again, we're going to talk some Impact Sports. People get excited. We got a great episode planned here today. Week 4 is in the books. And we are going to go ahead and go through all of it. Get real excited, talk about some motherfucking football. So, Dolphins kicked off week 4 versus the Bengals. Now, this was a game that was mostly overshadowed by the fact that Tua Tagovailoa got absolutely slammed on a sack that happened. Clean sack, but the dude just threw it back and he happened to land on the back of his head. A lot of controversy about whether or not he should have even been played because of how he was last week, where he got, completely injured. People thought it was a concussion. He says it was a back injury. Regardless, everyone's very up in arms with the Dolphins right now, very upset. It's looking like it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater next week. I'm sure multiple people have covered this already. We're not going to go too detailed into it. Joey Burrow looks like he's back a little bit. Had a couple of nice passes to T. Higgins throughout this game. So, yeah, I think that's being overshadowed a little bit because the Bengals did play a pretty decent game. Teddy Bridgewater actually didn't even look terrible. Had a costly interception down in the red zone. Otherwise, they might have had a chance here. A lot of field goals, not enough touchdowns. Bengals get the win, get back on track. Dolphins find their first loss of the season. Vikings-Saints, this was an interesting game out there in London. You know, it was actually very back and forth. The Vikings were in control for most of the game, but man, this came down to the very wire. New Orleans kicked a field goal, bounces off the uprights, almost went in, and that was after the guy had already made a 61-yarder, I think. So shout out to the kicker from the Saints. Fuck the Saints in general, though. Not bad at all to see them lose. Good for the Vikings. They actually find themselves at 3-1, right? Yeah, not bad for the Vikings right now. They're rolling. Kirk Cousins has that team winning some games right now. Even the lowly Falcons managed to find a victory. They put down the Browns here in a 23-20 game. Arthur Smith apparently just ran the ball like 15 times to end out the game. So Marcus Mariota seems like he's still struggling to, be super impressive over there, but apparently they don't need that at all. They just need him to be a decent game manager for them. Put some things together. They had a running back in there because I think Cordell Patterson went out with an injury, but they had somebody else in there. Dude hit 100 yards. Let's see who that kid was. Who was the running back? Falcons, tell us now. Don't hide it from us. Cleveland 2-2. Not terrible. They're just sort of surviving until Deshaun Watson can come back. But I'm seeing my boy Kareem Hunt have another big day. Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt actually kind of struggled. Only 50 yards after 10 carries. Marcus Mariota, 1 interception, 139 yards, only 7 completions. Caleb Hunt had a touchdown catch. Look at this guy's name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Wait, those are receptions. I'm sorry. So rushing it was Caleb Hunt. Sorry, I was completely wrong. Nobody had over 100 yards here. Oh, well, he probably had some good points. That's probably what it was. Looks like, I guess Patterson maybe went out with an injury. I'm not even sure. But he did have a touchdown. Dude, obviously Sports by Copy, we're not watching all of these, but we are going to report on them, god damn it. Of course we will. Bills-Ravens. This game I did see a decent amount of. When I was watching it, the Bills were actually dominating, so I'm very surprised to see the Ravens have, the Ravens are completely dominating that game, so it's crazy to see the Bills come back and win this one. There was some late heroics there by Josh Allen. But, man, there was this crazy-ass pass where Lamar Jackson, gets away from, multiple defenders, just chucks it downfield. I think it, bounces off the hands of Mark Andrews and into the hands of Bateman, or maybe the other way around. Yeah, it was off the hands of Bateman into Andrews, I think. But, man, the Ravens look good in this game, and they've looked good in a couple of their games. Lamar Jackson's having himself a hell of a season for them to only be, they're 2-2, right? Yeah, that's a rough way for them to be after just the way Lamar Jackson's been playing this season. He's been playing really, really well for them to be to be at 2-2. But shout out to Josh Allen. He's also having an amazing season. A little slow to get going in this game, but once he got hot, and the Ravens defense wasn't able to stop him. There's some questions, is the Ravens defense good enough to win the Super Bowl? I think it's a little early to be making those kind of calls, but I guess we'll find out. They're definitely struggling to put teams away right now. Got the Commanders and the Cowboys. Didn't see this game, but the Cowboys went ahead and just dominated this one, it looks like. As a Cowboy supporting podcast, we are happy to see this and happy to see the Cowboys are 3-1. You know, the Cooper Rush, the first Cowboys quarterback in NFL in Cowboys history to start 4-0. That's kind of crazy considering all the different quarterbacks they've had there, but kind of makes sense. You know, most quarterbacks aren't amazing right out the gate. I wouldn't even say Cooper Rush has been the reason that he's probably 4-0, but he's done enough. And you can't take that away from him. He is 4-0 as a starter, holding it down. Holding it down. Some people were talking quarterback controversy. I'm not sure if that's really what's happening. But he has definitely played some good football and winning them some games over there. You know, I think their schedule's going to get a little tougher here, so he might have to be asked to do a little bit more. We'll see what happens. I mean, they did take down the Bengals, so it's not like he's just beating hobos. This game is crazy, man. What is going on with this Lions defense? I mean, we talked to Omeza when he first showed up here before the season started. He did have his doubts about Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe he's right because, man, they are struggling to keep teams out of the end zone. This is a team that has scored a shitload of points. They are like ranked at the very top of the NFL right now in points scored, and yet they are 1-3 because their defense can't stop anyone. Their defense can't stop Geno Smith, who, I mean, all right, Geno Smith is having a pretty decent season. We're not going to totally take that away from him, but he's also Geno Smith. Man, what the hell is going on here? Seattle puts up 48 points and beats the Lions 45-48. Rumblings about the defensive coordinator over there, Glenn, you know, former player. You want to see him succeed, but man, he is struggling to find his place with that defense right now. Hopefully they get it together because I want to see the Lions win. Who doesn't? Good old Lions. We got the Chargers and Texans. Texans are still looking for their first win of the season. They did not find it against Justin Herbert. And the Chargers, who were on fire, had a good game. This game never looked too out of control for them. You know, Pierce had a good game from the Texans. It kind of brought them back into it a little bit. But we're starting to see why maybe David Mills wasn't like as high up on people's boards during the draft process, right? Because, I mean, we want to see this guy do well. I hope he figures it out, but he's definitely done a bit of a slow couple games here. His team's asking him to put up some points, and he's not quite able to do it. But luckily, he's got David Pierce over there now, this rookie. Maybe they could get it going. They got another week coming up here against who they play. They got Jacksonville, so that should be a game. But, you know, for him to try to get back on track with that Jacksonville defense has been playing well though. Colts and Titans. Titans finally found their king Henry, has come home officially. Running people over. Big day for him if you had him in fantasy football. A big day for him in general. Not so much for Jonathan Allen, who had about 20 carries for like no yards. So Colts are struggling to find their identity as we get going in this early going of the season. But seriously, what is going on with them, man? Their offense is struggling. Meanwhile, the Titans are looking good. You know, they're making the passes where they need to. Robert Woods has been emerging the last couple of weeks. Not a lot of firepower over there, but Ryan Tannehill's making it work with who he has, and King Henry seems to be awakening. If he gets going, man, you know how it goes over there, but it is a long season. This is only week 4. Hopefully he can find some receiver help to help him out a little bit over there. And yeah, Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts looking for answers at 1-2-1. Bears Giants. I really thought the Bears were going to take this game. Very surprised to see the Giants go ahead and win this. Maybe I'm not taking the Giants seriously enough. Danny Dimes seems to be more of a running quarterback than a passing, but man, he's doing the running pretty well. Dude's getting loose. He gets into the end zone. I think he had a pair of rushing touchdowns today. I mean the other day, but you know, he's playing good football right now. The Bears defense is struggling a little bit. David Montgomery is still down. You know, I don't know if the Bears defense is struggling a little bit. That's unfair to say. Obviously, their offense is fucking struggling. You guys put up 12 points against the Giants. That's not going to win you games, apparently, which is why you guys are 2-2 now, which I can't talk too much shit, and we'll get to it soon. Jaguars find themselves at 2-2 now after having lost to the red-hot Eagles, who are now 4-0. I don't know if Sports Compian was taking the Eagles quite as seriously, but man, they are looking good. They were down early in this game, 14-0. As Jalen Hurts would say, they never lost their swag, I guess. They never lost their drive. They are coming strong, this team. They playing hot offense right now. No one seems to be able to contain with Jalen Hurts. Miles Sanders went off yesterday with a pair of touchdowns, 121 yards, I believe. This is an Eagles team that's very hot right now, and I wouldn't want to have to be playing them. I think they have a couple more good games coming up, so good for them. 4-0. Philly fans got to be excited right now. it's a long season to go, but there's no negating a 4-0 start. That's awesome. Good for them. And yeah, the Jaguars played them hard, man. So I don't think the Jaguars have too much to be embarrassed about here. Hopefully they can bounce back and get to Houston. I think they have next week, and get back to the win column. Jets, Steelers. Jets break a streak of the first time in like their history in a long time that they've won 2 consecutive road games or something like that. Pretty crazy. They find themselves at 2-0 right now with Joe Flacco at the helm. I think Mitchell Trubisky finally got benched in this game. Rough times, Mitchell. Sorry, bud. It seems that the Kenny Pickett era has started over there with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We definitely have to get Frankie out here at some point to go ahead and break that down. Corey has been MIA with a couple different things, so that's why he hasn't been around. When he reemerges, we will get to Frankie over here, and he will tell us how he feels about the Mitchell Trubisky. The Kenny Pickett era officially starting over there in Pittsburgh. Because that appears to be what's happening. That definitely seems to be what's going down. We got the Cardinals and the Panthers. Panthers are still struggling to find some wins out here, guys. But the Cardinals look good this game. They mostly had it in control. Kyler Murray kind of slinging the ball around, doing his normal thing. 26-16. Baker Mayfield's got to be feeling the itch over there. I know Matt Rule's feeling the hot seat. It's not a great situation if you're in the Rule household. Wish them all the best, but it's not great, dude, that you're 1-3 right now. You know your owner doesn't like that kind of stuff. Nobody likes that kind of stuff. He even apologized to the fan base that they deserve more. I mean, I like the Panthers, but I'm not terrible to see them lose it, especially when they're in my division. But yeah, we would probably like to see them do a little better in the future. This game was a lot closer than what a lot of people thought it would be, especially me. Patriots, Packers, this game went down to overtime. Rodgers with a late touchdown to Romeo Doubs. Probably could have put this away before overtime. Football move rules, whatever it is. Romeo Doubs is ruled an incompletion. Goes into overtime. The Packers defense comes up with a stop, get the ball back to Rodgers, who's able to get them into field goal range. Rodgers actually looked good at this game. Was able to get the ball around to his receivers. They're still not the most dominant offense we've ever seen in our lives, but he's definitely still moving the ball. They're doing well. They're getting those 2 running backs involved. Maybe one day we'll get Mr. Sights on here to break down a little bit more what's going on. But we got the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I just thought it was impressive for the Pats. I mean, they were down to their 3rd string quarterback at one point, and they were hanging with Aaron Rodgers. You know, this was a close-ass game, went all the way down to overtime, pick 6 to get it all going. Belichick has done well with this draft, and he's done well to keep this team competitive in all the games they're in for the most part. We'll see how they do with getting Mac Jones back in time. Right now, their Zappy guy over there just kicking ass as a 3rd string quarterback because their 2nd string got banged up. It looks like he's going to be concussed up too. So, crazy times over there with New England, but they are staying relatively competitive in these games. They need to find a win next week, though, because they're 1-3. Broncos, Raiders. Raiders get a much needed win. Devontae Adams had mentioned last week how he's sick of being 3-0. I agreed with him, and you know what? Us and the Raiders and the Rockford Ravens both found our first wins this week. Let's go to the Raiders first. You know, they were able to kind of stay ahead of the Broncos for most of this game. I think that Broncos offense is far from clicking or getting off to a good start going, and now they just lost Devontae Williams to AC fracture. Rip. So he's out for the season. They're back to Melvin Gordon at running back. Russell Wilson is definitely not clicking with this offense just yet. The Raiders were able to find some momentum, get some field goals, stay in front of them. And, Josh Jacobs was able to put a touchdown to cap it all off at the end of the year. At the end of the game. So they find their first win. Rockford Ravens hosted the Northwest Indiana Reapers. Came up. A lot of my buddies are over there. They played with the D3 Daddies over the summer with us. So shout out to the Reapers. They came up, really fun game. The Ravens were able to put up some points. Your boy even scored, so I'm finally done with that whole not having scored in 15s ever again. So, yeah, that's Sunsies. Already did it. Already did the score. Ravens find the win, and a really good game for us. We needed a confidence booster. Finally able to find the try-zone multiple times. I found the try-zone. It's good times, man, and got some strips. Played some rugby. It was a fun day. We got a big game coming up with the Riot from the city coming to visit us. Haven't beat this team in a while. It's been a minute, at least a year, if not more. At least 3 games, 2 games. It's been a while. We need to fucking beat these guys. They're coming to town. They are gonna come with a squad. They always do. They're either undefeated or they have like 1 fucking loss, and we're about to fucking hand them their second one because fuck the goddamn Riot. Sick of losing to those Cowboys, those fucking Cowboys motherfuckers. So then we get to our Sunday night football game, which was the Chiefs and your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This score's a little bit deceiving, guys, because it really didn't feel like the Buccaneers were ever really in this game. It was rough. Patrick Mahomes was having himself a fucking night. Dude was like pissed off from the Super Bowl, I guess, because holy shit, he came after us. Just utterly dominated this defense. Like, they did not look anywhere close to the defense they've looked over the first 3 weeks of the season. I mean, granted, I guess you're playing Patrick Mahomes, you're going to have some tough times, but man, guys were just not making plays. Guys were not making plays, and then they were getting awed and having plays made on them. Like, yeah, well, I'm sure everyone's seen the highlight of fucking Patrick Mahomes fucking, I think he's stiff arm. I think that was Patrick O'Connell. If not, it was Carl Nassib. Fucking stiff arms the fuck out of him. Runs to the sidelines. White can't bring him down. He fucking does a lob pass to fucking Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the back of the end zone. He had multiple plays like this throughout the game. It was fucking just utter mayhem. Oh, it was rough to watch, and I had to watch that for a very long time. I think I finally gave up around like 8 minutes left and the Bucs were punting. I was like, okay, all right. I'm finally going to throw in the towel on this one, so I didn't see the last Buccaneers touchdown. Shout out to Mike Evans, man. Dude showed up to play, tried to keep it in a game. You know, Tom Brady also. Which of course started with like multiple runs on first down, but then once we got behind so much, he had to pretty much abandon the run, which was probably the best thing for this Bucs offense, unfortunately. We just could not run the ball very well right now. I mean, White finally had some decent runs later. Doesn't really make up for him putting us in this hole to start off the game with fucking fumbling the kickoff or fumbling the play right after the kickoff. I don't even know. By the time I managed to pull up the game because I was like struggling to get it going, they were already down 7-0. This was a rough game. It was like one of those days. So, yeah, I guess some positives from the Bucs offense. We finally were able to kind of look like we were a real offense out there. Put up some points. Julio Jones got injured again. But Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin got injured during the game, but he seems to be okay. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Like, holy fuck, we need you right now, dude. Cole Beasley out and retires on us because it's just fucking that crazy out here. I mean, he did have a 5-yard catch. Buccaneers legend. Let's go, Cole Beasley. Nah, I actually like Cole Beasley. You know, he was with the Cowboys for a while. Whenever had a decent time with the Buffalo too. Shout out to the guy, man. You know, he's gonna go be a father and daughter and husband. I guess he was like saw Tom Brady and he's like, shit, dude. So you're getting divorced over football? I'm gonna go hang out with my wife. I'll see you, man. So yeah, he straight up retired on us. Another retiree was Blake Bortles. I liked Blake Bortles, man. It was kind of crazy to see that Jacksonville Jaguars team for the 2017 championship just utterly implode after the AFC championship. Then I don't think I'll ever forget it. Blake Bortles just throwing the ball up into the fans, up into the stands out of frustration in Foxborough. The GOAT went on to lose that year to Philadelphia, but it is just crazy to think, Blake Bortles was so close to get into the Super Bowl, and like, man, that team imploded so fast after that, so quickly. A lot of different things said about that team. I don't really know, but point is, Blake Bortles has officially retired. I think he's only like 30 years old. Dude fell off hard, kind of a bummer. But he had a 9-year career. I'm sure he's well set financially as long as he invested. So I think he'll be okay. But hey, shout out to Blake Bortles in that 2017 AFC Championship Jaguars because you guys were good, man. Jalen Ramsey was over there talking shit. They were fucking good for a while there. Scary times. If you were playing them. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this game. Fucking, it was gross listening to Chris Collinsworth be all over fucking Patrick Mahomes' nutsack. I mean, granted, he had a good game, but gross, dude. No one wants to hear all that. Rams 49ers, I have seen enough out of Matthew Stafford in my fantasy league. That guy is going to the bench for a little while. I'm putting fucking Kirk Cousins in. That's how serious it is over here, dude. Matthew Stafford has not gotten his shit together this year so far. Puts up 9 points against the 49ers. this 49ers team managed to pull out another win. Their style, man. Good defense. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have to do too much. Some good passing. Good for them. They beat a division rival. Big game. The Rams are definitely seem to have a bit of a Super Bowl hangover here because they find themselves at 2-2, much like the Buccaneers. The Bucs, though, we do have Atlanta next week, so fear not, Bucs fans. We have a great chance to get right back on track here. We got to go ahead and take care of business, though, and not fuck it up against good old Atlanta, as they say. So, this has been Sports by Compian, just giving you your weekly updates about your impact sports that you need to know about. There's, of course, some things going on in the rugby world as well. We did not quite listen to it. It was a weird-ass fucking week for us. And the previous week, too, because we were also sick that week. So, yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks. But, you know, I'll leave you guys with this Lacuna Coil lyrics. And maybe I did get it wrong, but it sounded pretty fucking cool. So, anyway, if love is the answer, why does it feel so goddamn good to hate? Sports by Compian out.